We continue with our business IGCSE class. Today's topic in business is sources of finance, chapter 25. Sources means ways in which you can find funds. Source means links, ways you can find finance. And what is finance itself? Finance is the disbursement of funds from the surplus unit to the deficit unit. So that means there's money somewhere, there's cash somewhere, but it needs to be used in another place. So taking that cash that is stored there, taking it to where it is needed, that is finance. Do you understand what finance is here? So it is the disbursement of fund from the surplus. Surplus means where you have it in abundance to the deficit unit where you need it most. So that's why they say, oh, I have a project, I don't have a finance. I need to finance my project. I need you to finance my project. You say it's a project, it's a business, but it needs financing. So where do you get this finance from? You get it from a source. So it could be internal, it could be external. We'll get there anyway. But what you have to understand is that when it comes to finance, it means disbursement of cash from where you have it so much to where you need it so much. Clear?
So once I get the money, I'll put it somewhere else. I'll fund it somewhere else.
The money is somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
You need to find it. You need to source for it so that you can use it to finance your project. That is what finance is about. You wouldn't get cash. If I have cash, now I have cash. If I don't have anything to do with cash, then I can give it, I can loan you out, I can borrow you. I can give it to you as a loan. But if I need it to do some things too, I won't be able to give it to you. Yes or no?
Yeah.
So that's why we said finance is the disbursement from the surplus unit to the deficit unit. I have it surplus.
Surplus unit.
Surplus unit is where the money is. It will be the financial institution. The deficit is the business that needs the finance.
That's disbursement.
Disbursement, the process of taking cash from here down there is disbursement.
And funded to the project.
Yeah, that is disbursement.
That's disbursement.
Disbursement is how you take that money from the surplus to the deficit.
Yeah.
So
okay,
the process is the disbursement.
Okay, I understand.
Okay, so we go down anyway. The need for funds. Finance is the same as fund, right? We have, what are the reasons why we need funds? What are the reasons why we seek for finance? Short-term needs. So we might need finance, we might need funds for a short-term purpose. And when we talk about short-term here, we're talking about period within a year. Period within a year. Period within a year. That means it must not exceed 1 year. That is short-term. That's why I said period within
a year.
A year. So let's read anyway. Once the business starts trading, it will earn revenue. This money can be used to meet the day-to-day running costs of the business, such as wages, raw materials, components, and premises and utility bills. However, sometimes the revenue from sales may not cover all expenditure. This is when the business will need to borrow money. The finance needed to fund the day-to-day expenditure is usually called short-term finance. This is because it's usually repaid within 1 year. So the first reason why we need finance could be for short-term needs, for short-term purpose. And when we need short-term needs here, when we talk about what we meant by short-term is we need funds, we need cash to meet up with the day-to-day running of the business. So we run, as a business will run different expenditure. That means you have to pay your wages, you have to pay electricity bills, whatever bills you have to pay, utility, you have to pay all these bills. So these are day-to-day running of, these are day-to-day activities. We call them revenue expenditure. Are you with me? So this kind of expenditure, your revenue might not be enough to fund them. That is why you need short-term finance. So the finance you get, the money you borrow within a year, that the money you borrow that you have to return within a year is a short-term finance or a short-term loan. Do you get short-term here?
Maybe.
Short-term is within a year.
Yes.
Why do you need a short-term loan? You need a short-term finance or a short-term fund because you want to use it for the day-to-day running of the business. The business has to be, the business has to function. The business has to be in operations every day. But your revenue, what you make from sales, is not enough to fund the day-to-day running of the business.
Yeah.
So that means you need finance from somewhere.
From somewhere.
That is a short-term need, and that is what we call short-term. Short-term needs goes with short-term finance. So you need short-term finance for a short-term need. Short-term need means day-to-day running of the business. Like
okay.
maybe you want to pay your wages, you want to pay electricity, whatever utility bills you have to pay. These are short-term needs. So short-term needs warrant short-term finance. Is it clear?
Yeah.
So that's the first reason. The second one, long-term needs. For long-term needs, they said businesses often waste money and take much longer than 1 year to repay. What is owed? This is called long-term finance. Some long-term finance comes from the owners. This is called capital and often remains in the business permanently or until the business stops trading. Other long-term sources may be borrowed from financial institutions such as banks. Long-term sources of finance are often used to buy resources that will be used repeatedly by the business for long periods of time. Examples would be machinery, tools, equipment, property, and office furniture. So, we call it long-term finance because we need it for a long term. It is used for long-term needs. Long-term finance is used for what? Long-term needs. And when we talk about long-term needs, we are talking about needs that will have impact in the business for a longer period of time. So we need, for example, we need a long-term finance, and also you have to put in mind that a long-term finance is that finance, or a long-term loan is that loan that you can pay back after 1 year.
It can be 2, 3,
More
4.
than 1 year, more than 1 year.
More
than 1 year, yes. 2, whatever it is, but it is more than 1 year.
Okay.
That's why I call it long-term. So, what are those things you would need a long-term finance for? You want to buy equipment, you want to buy machinery, whatever capital you want to invest on, you need long-term finance because the cost of capital, the cost of investing in capital goods are high. So you don't need a short-term finance for that.
Yeah.
Do you get it now? So for long-term needs, like things that you need for the organization, things that you need for the business, you need a long-term finance. And most of the time, the long-term finance comes from the owners of the business. So when this finance comes from the owner of the business, we call it capital.
What?
Capital. I told you about capital before.
Yeah.
The money invested by the owners of the business.
Yeah.
So it's a long-term finance. Why is it long-term? Because you're not even going to return it. It stays with the business.
Yeah.
It's a permanent money, cash that stays with the business until the business stops trading.
Like office equipment.
Office equipment are purchases of long-term assets.
Yes.
I'm talking about capital, money here. Money. Capital we're talking about here is, I'm not talking about capital goods. I'm talking about capital, which is money invested by the owner of the business into the business.
Yeah.
So that is capital. So capital is a long-term source of finance.
Sure.
Because it will not be returned back to the owner of the business. It is a permanent cash that stays with the business. It's a permanent fund. It only goes back to the owner of the business if the business stops trading. That means it stops being in operation. Is it clear?
Yeah. Okay.
So that's a long-term need. Any question about long-term need?
No.
So we need a long-term needs a long-term. A long-term needs implies that we need a long-term finance.
Yeah.
And what are the long-term finance what are those long-term needs? It could be equipment, it could be machinery, it could be tools. These are what long-term finance should be used for.
Long-term finance can be used for long-time things.
Needs. Yes, is it clear?
Long-time needs.
Is it clear?
Yeah.
The third reason why we could need finance is startup capital. Funds are most needed when first setting up a business. This is because a lot of resources are needed before trading can begin. Some of these resources are one-off items. For example, a new restaurant would need to buy cookers, refrigerators, utensils, furniture, glassware, and other equipment, including knives, forks, and plates. Once these one-off costs have been met, they may not be repeated for many years. Other startup costs might include research, converting premises, legal fees, websites, design, and marketing. So another need for finance could be startup capital. For startup capital, we're talking about money needed to start up the business. Without this money, the business can never be in operation. It might be one-off thing. Why we call it one-off? We call it one-off because this finance, this cash spent would not be repeated. One example of one-off is you wanting to start a school.
Yeah.
The first thing you buy is the building, right?
Obviously.
You're not going to buy the building next year again. As soon as you bought it, as soon as you buy it now, it is forever. Yes or no? So that's a one-off something.
Yeah.
So sometimes businesses would need finance for as a startup capital. You understand what startup capital is now?
Yeah, sure.
Money needed for the beginning to launch a project.
Yeah.
Is it clear?
I understand. So, Mister, what is the difference between long-term needs and startup capital?
The name itself says it. Capital is the amount of money put into the business by the owner of the business.
Yes.
It might not be startup. The owner might be injecting cash into the business. In as much as the owner of the business is putting money into the business, it is named capital. Startup we're talking about means what we put together to make the business to commence. The commencement of the business. So money needed for the commencement of the business is commencement. To starting the business.
Starting, okay.
To launch the project. That is a startup capital. Clear? Another reason for sourcing for finance is that.
Yeah.
The next one is expansion. Some businesses, expansion means the business is growing, right? If the business is growing, sometimes you might need finance.
Yeah.
So do you get the point I'm making here? So the fourth reason why we need to source for finance is because of expansion.
Obviously.
And when we talk about expansion, it might mean that the business wants to expand the capacity. It's growing. It might mean that the business wants to develop a new product. Sure. It might mean that the business is having a new branch abroad. We have a branch in Tripoli. We need a new branch in Lagos, Nigeria.
Yeah, expand.
So that would be the reason why we need finance. And the last one here is diversify. That means diversification, which means the business wants to spread its risk.
Yes.
It wants to invest in different product portfolio.
Yeah.
These are the reasons why
like M&M and Mars. There are two different products, but
for the same company.
Yeah, in the same company.
So a business might want to diversify.
Yes.
That's why it needs funds. So these are the reasons why there's a need for finance. 1, for expansion. 2, for startup capital. 3, long-term needs. 4, short-term needs.
Sure.
And capital itself. Is it clear?
Clear.
Any question about that?
No.
So we'll go to different types of finance now.
But hey, mister, do not overtrade it.
Overtrading, yes.
Yeah.
You don't overtrade because when you overtrade, it means you are spending more.
That
you don't have enough capital to fund the project you have.
Yeah.
The project you have available is more than the capital you
needed.
Have. The capital you have.
Yeah, I know.
Available capital. Is it clear?
Clear.
So we move on. So we go to internal. The first type of sources of finance is the internal source of finance. When we talk about internal source of finance, we are talking about the finance that is generated within the business.
That's internal finance.
Funds that are generated within the business, it's called internal.
Such
as personal savings.
Okay.
That's your personal saving. You are the owner of the business. So whatever money you save, you put it into the business. Yes or no?
Capital.
Yes, capital. At the end of it, capital. But we call it personal saving. As soon as you take it, we withdraw it from the bank.
That's another name.
Or listen.
Okay.
The money you saved in the bank is your personal savings. When you divert it into the business, it becomes capital. Is it clear now?
So the money that I saved, I put it in the bank.
It's your savings.
Yeah, it's
my
called
savings.
If I extend it to a business, that means it's a capital.
It becomes capital.
Ah.
Is it clear now?
Oh, clear.
So one of the type of internal sources of finance is personal savings. That means sometimes you might start up your business with your contributions, monies you've saved in the bank. That's the first point. Is it clear?
Yeah, okay, clear.
Okay, the second one, retained profit. When we talk about retained profit, we're talking about profit that is being reinvested into the business. The business is expected to make profit, yes or no?
Yes.
Great. So the profit you make, instead of giving it to shareholders, or instead of taking it away, you put it back into the business.
So
we call it retained profit.
So
the business is making profit, right?
Sure, yeah, it makes profit.
As soon as you make profit is supposed to be the return on your investment.
Yes.
Yes or no? So yes or no, please?
Yes, I understand.
So if profit is the return on your investment, it means you can do whatever you like with the money, yes or no? The profit. But instead of you to take the profit out of the business, you're putting it back into the business.
So the profit that I made, from the product, I reinvested from the business.
To the business.
Yeah, I reinvested.
Into the business. That's what we
I
call
turn it to capital.
Yeah, that's what we call. No, it's not going to be called capital. It's going to be called retained profit.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Is it clear?
Sure.
So you can in your statement of financial position, you add it to your capital.
Yeah, sure.
Is it clear?
Yeah, sure.
So instead of giving dividends to shareholders, you put it back into the business. That is what we call retained profit. Is it clear?
Yeah.
It's a flexible source of finance. Why? Because this money will be put back into the business and you don't have to pay anyone on it. Is it clear? The third type of internal source of finance is selling assets. You don't sell assets that are useful to the business. You sell assets that the business are not using. Assets that maybe their economic lifespan is going.
So
for example, you have 5 laptops and your company only needs 3 laptops.
Sure.
So 2 can be sold to raise money. Do you get it?
So for example, and there's an empty office desk that no one wants.
Let's use what we have here.
Okay, sure.
This is your office. You have 5 laptops. I'm making examples here.
Okay.
You have 5 laptops here. 3 are used always. You use 3 laptops always. Then there are 2 there that are not being used. So they're just there.
Yeah.
It's a waste of resources. They are assets, right?
Yeah.
And the company needs money. You can sell them.
Sure.
To raise finance. That is what we mean by it's meant by selling assets. Is it clear?
Okay, yeah.
The business would not sell the assets it's using. Useful assets cannot be sold.
Of course.
But those ones that are not useful, that you're not using, you could sell them to raise finance. But the problem about selling assets is that a new business would not have assets to sell. If you are a new business, you're just starting up your business, you wouldn't have any assets to sell.
I mean, obviously.
Is it clear?
I mean, yeah, obviously for a new business.
So, is it clear, please?
Yes.
So, selling of assets is not, it doesn't work for a new business.
I mean, super obvious. For a new business, you cannot sell something that you already bought.
You are just using. Is it clear? So that's the end of internal source of finance. So we go to external now. Are you there?
External.
Are you there, please?
So the internal is from the business and the external is from outside the business.
Yes.
Mister, I want to ask you something.
Hold on, please.
Is profit, I made from the product, is it external or internal?
It's internal.
Internal, right?
It's internal.
Yeah, I'm just asking.
Okay, sure. So we go to external now. Are you there?
Yeah, sure.
For external sources of finance, when we talk about external finance, it means finance that is being sourced from outside the business.
Sourced.
From outside the business. That is external. So we read, external finance comes from outside the business. There's a wide variety of both short-term and long-term external sources of finance. Short-term sources where money is borrowed for less than 1 year may be needed for the following reasons. So for short-term, why do we need money for short-term? One, some businesses have seasonal trade. So they have seasonal trade. That means like farmers.
Yeah, okay.
Their output is within certain period in a year, so they might need finance for that.
Say it again.
They said some businesses have seasonal trade. I made the example of farmers.
Okay.
Their output, what they produce, comes at a certain period in a year. So they might need money for that period.
So
that is short term.
Okay.
And it's external. Clear? Is it clear, please?
No.
They said short-term sources where money is borrowed for less than 1 year may be needed for the following reasons. Why do we need short-term finance? We talked about it earlier. One of the reasons why we need short-term finance is that a business might need short-term finance because the business trades in season. The business is involved in seasonal trade.
Yeah.
Which means it trades its output comes in a certain period, at a certain period in a year. So that means the business might take a short-term finance to be able to fund the product or the project so that it can come out as within that year, and as soon as it comes out, it can pay back.
So
Example is a farmer.
so basically, a farmer will borrow the farmers, for example, will borrow their money to a business, and
Farmers are business people too. They borrow money to run their business. So what we are saying here is that a farmer could take a loan, a short-term one, so that it use it to plant the crops, and as soon as the time to germinate, the time of germination of the crop comes up, or harvest, then the farmer will be able to harvest and pay for its debts. That is short-term.
so the farmer, so the businesses gives the farmer.
The farmer is a business.
Okay.
We're talking about the bank here.
Yeah, sure.
So the farmer might take money from the bank
Right.
to run its farm and pay back at a later period within that year. That's one of the short reasons why we need short-term finance.
Okay.
So,
sure.
example, one of the reasons for short-term finance is seasonal trade. And when we talk about seasonal trade, it means trade that happens at a certain period in a year. Is it clear now?
Yeah, actually.
The second one, a manufacturer may need finance to pay for raw materials and wages to meet a larger order. You might need a short-term finance
Okay.
because you want to place order for supplies. These are day-to-day things.
Sure.
The third one, a firm might be short of money because it is waiting for a customer to pay. Your business might be, you might have large numbers of credit customers that they are not paying yet, and you need cash. There's cash inflow problem because most of your debtors have not paid back. Your creditors, you are waiting for your credit customers to pay. So you need short-term finance to solve whatever you need to solve for, and as soon as they pay, you can return the cash.
So
That's another reason why you need short-term finance.
So the business is short of money, and
The business is short of money because it has a lot of credit customers. Those credit customers are supposed to pay, but they are not paying yet.
Yeah.
So, pending the time they're going to pay, you could source for finance to fund whatever project you have, and when they pay, they can pay back.
Yeah, sure.
The last one, a business may need to meet emergency expenditure, unexpected expenses that you never budgeted for. So because you don't budget for it and it happens, it is out of your budget, you might need a short-term finance to cover for it. Is it clear? So these are the reasons why we need short-term finance. Any question about that?
Yeah, okay, no.
Is it clear?
Sure. Okay, we need to know the sources.
So what are the three main sources of short-term finance? The first one, bank overdraft. When we talk about bank overdraft, it means you are able to spend more than your credit balance in your bank account. An overdraft is a credit facility that allows a bank customer to withdraw more than its available balance. Please look at me, I'm talking here.
Yeah, I know.
You should listen and watch me when I'm talking.
Okay, sure.
We call it overdraft.
Yeah, okay.
An overdraft is a credit facility given to a bank customer
Yeah, okay.
to be able to withdraw more than its available credit balance. Your credit balance means the amount of money you have in your bank account.
Alright.
So you might have 500 in your bank account.
Yeah, okay.
You need 550. That means you need extra 50, yes or no?
Yes.
So if the bank allows you to have access to the additional $50, that is an overdraft. You know what an overdraft
So if
is?
the bank allows me
To withdraw more than
it was.
what you have, what your credit balance is. That's a bank overdraft. Is it clear? Is it clear? Is it clear, please? If it is not, let me explain again, please.
Okay, sure.
Good. We call it short term. A short term source of finance because this finance whenever the funds is being made available, you have to return it within a year.
Yeah, okay.
Example of short-term external finance is bank overdraft. Bank overdraft. A bank overdraft is a credit facility that allows a bank customer to withdraw more than its available balance. Your available balance is 500, but you needed 550 for your project.
Yeah.
You don't have extra 50, right? You could make a request to the bank
Sure.
to give you additional $50. So if the bank accepted your request, you are able to withdraw 550 instead of your available balance of 500. So that is an overdraft.
Okay, understand. I understand.
Is it clear now?
Yeah, clear.
So that's an example of a short-term finance. It is short-term because you have to pay back within a year.
Within the year.
The second one is trade payables. For trade payables, we're talking about trade credit. You buying from your credit supplier.
Yeah, okay.
You buying from your suppliers on credit. That is trade payables. Your suppliers will supply you raw materials, yes or no?
Sure.
They supply you now, but you are not paying now. You are paying at a later date.
Later date.
So that is what. So your supplier becomes your trade payables or your creditor.
Okay.
So having a creditor allows you to pay at a later date, which means you can have stocks now.
Okay.
Without paying.
I can have stocks without paying.
Without paying, it becomes a deferred payment. A deferred payment.
Deferred.
You pay at a later date.
So if I want to buy raw materials.
If you are able to buy raw materials on credit.
Yeah, on credit.
The business that supplies you on credit is your creditor or trade payables.
Okay.
So that's another source of external short-term finance.
Sure.
Why is it a short-term finance? You have to pay your trade payables or your creditors within a year. You can't owe a business for more than a year, yes or no?
Yeah. It's usually within 30 to 90 days.
Within a year, you have to pay back.
All right, sure.
That's the point there. I think it's clear.
Yeah, clear.
So what are the problems about trade payables? Number one, many suppliers encourage early payment by offering discounts. So one of the downsides of trade payables is that suppliers would not want you to owe their money for a long period of time. So they give you a discount. They give you cash discount. And what does this cash discount does? What does it do? It allows you to pay earlier at a reduced cost. So if you are supposed to pay 500 for the cost of goods you bought.
Okay, 500. Sure.
If you're making your payment promptly, if you are paying earlier than the date that has been set, you might be paying 485.
So basically, if I pay earlier than it was, they'll give me discount.
So businesses, suppliers, they encourage prompt payment by offering cash discounts.
Okay.
Is it clear?
Sure.
The cost of goods is often higher if firms buy on credit. But another problem about trade payables is that those goods that you buy on credit, the prices are always high. The third one.
Like, what do you mean? Say it again.
You're not going to pay the same price. If you are making payments right now, and you are making payments right now, the amount you pay right now will be different from the person that wants to pay at a later date.
So if I pay it right now, it will be different from.
It will be lesser.
Lesser. Okay.
Is it clear?
Okay, sure.
Delaying payments may upset suppliers. When you delay their payments, they might not be happy with you, and they might not allow you. They might decline your next supply.
Really?
So you pay them earlier. Is it clear? Is it clear, please?
Yeah, sure.
So the next other short-term finance is credit cards. You know what credit cards is? It allows you to use your card to buy and pay the bank at a later date.
At a later date, okay.
Do you get it? So credit cards are popular because they are convenient, flexible, and avoid interest charges if accounts are settled within the credit period. So here, your card will be funded by the bank, but you have to pay back within a certain period of time. So if you pay back within a certain period of time, the bank will not charge you interest. But if you don't pay back within the certain period of time, the bank will charge you interest.
So if I will pay them in a certain amount of time.
The bank will fund your card.
Okay, we'll fund my card.
So you use the card to do your purchases
Okay, sure.
without actually having money.
Mm.
But you have to pay back at a specific period of time, which is being arranged by your bank.
Okay, sure. So basically, as an example, for example, I wanna buy this water, and I have a credit card. I will buy it. Then
You pay.
in later
You
days,
buy, you pay.
yeah, I pay.
But you have to
Then-
pay. You have to refund your bank
Yeah, sure. Yeah, yeah, pay back the bank.
after
After-
the specified period.
Mm.
Is it clear?
Sure.
That's about credit card. Then loan capital. We're talking about loan capital.
Mm.
Are you there, please?
Yeah, loan capital.
So we're talking about loan capital. We say loan is a fixed agreement between the business and the bank. The amount borrowed and interest must be repaid in regular installments over a fixed period. Bank loans can be short-term or long-term source of finance.
Sure.
The main advantage of a bank loan is that a business will know actually what it has to pay every month.
Sure.
So a loan capital or a loan,
Mm,
it
okay.
can actually be a long-term or short-term. But what you have to understand is that whenever you have a loan, it means you have already agreed with the financial institution that gave you the loan that you pay back at a specific period of time. And what you have to pay back instrumentally.
Mm.
Is it clear?
Okay.
Then the next one, unsecured bank loans. Some bank loans are unsecured. This means that the bank lends money without a security of having a claim on your assets if you do not pay it back. So we call it unsecured bank loan. This unsecured bank loan means the bank actually give you loans, give you money without any collateral.
How?
Collateral means without you using any assets to stand for the cash you have taken.
Can
You
you,
know-
can you see it? Can you explain it more
Yeah,
simpler?
sure. We have what we call secured loans. These are loans that goes with your assets. So if you need to take money from the bank, if you need a loan from the bank,
Okay, if I need the loan from the bank.
the
okay.
bank will request for some assets to stand
Some
in
assets.
case you don't pay back,
So I need some assets.
like land, like building, like motor vehicle. So the bank will use this as a collateral.
Mm.
So these will stand, and it becomes a source of how do I put it? It becomes a source of their claim in case you don't pay back. They claim it if you don't pay back. So they're giving you a loan of
You claim the asset.
yes.
Like, so basically, if I don't pay the loans, they will
They
get
will have a claim on that asset that you have used as collateral.
as a collateral.
Is it clear?
Yeah. Okay.
So, but here we're talking about unsecured bank loans. So unsecured bank loans are loans that do not have any collateral
Yeah.
attached
Mm.
to it.
Sure.
So that means if the person do not pay back, if the person doesn't pay back, the bank cannot hold or have a claim on his asset or her asset. Is it clear?
So basically, what it meant, if I don't pay any loans from the bank, they will get they will claim the asset.
They won't claim it because the loan here is unsecured.
Ah.
They will claim it if the loan is secured.
Okay, okay. So if it's secured, they'll claim the asset if it's secured. Unsecured means they won't
Like
claim
a
it.
mortgage.
Yeah,
So when you take a loan and you have to use your house,
sure.
your property
Mm.
to stand,
Mm.
that is as a collateral, that is a mortgage.
A collateral is a mortgage.
Yeah, because you are using your property
Ah.
to get a loan.
Oh yeah,
Is it
yeah.
clear?
Sure, sure.
The next one,
So correct. What it says? Collateral.
collateral.
Correct.
Collateral.
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 Yeah.
Collateral.
So that's
Collateral is a mortgage.
it's a property that you use
Yeah.
that stands for you as a claim in case you don't pay back.
Mm. Yeah. Okay. Clear. I'll keep that in mind.
Okay, done. So we have debenture. For a debenture is an asset too, but this kind of asset has a fixed rate.
What do you mean fixed rate?
The interest you have to pay is fixed.
Okay.
So the interest rate is going up or going down, it doesn't matter. You have to pay a fixed one. You know, the interest rate is determined by it's determined through monetary policy.
Okay.
We talked about it, right? The central bank of the country decides that.
Sure.
So if the interest rate is increasing or reducing,
If the interest is increasing and reducing.
or it doesn't affect a debenture holder. A debenture means that you are a creditor to
Sure.
a company. So that means the company has given you a money, a loan that you
Yeah.
have to pay back with a fixed interest.
Wait, debenture is a type of loan, right? It's a type of loan.
Yeah, it's a loan given
Okay.
by a business or a company given to you by a company.
Sure.
So what happens with the debenture is that it is a fixed interest rate.
So I have to pay the loan or debenture.
You have to pay the interest
the interest
at that rate,
instead of
at a fixed rate.
at a fixed rate.
Yes.
What happened? The interest is gone, increased or decreased.
Yes.
You have to pay it
Yes.
with exact the money what they promised you to
Definitely.
pay.
So the next one is hire purchase. For hire purchase, it means
Okay.
you are buying specific item and you have to pay. You have to pay bit by bit. You're gonna have this asset, but you pay more than the worth of that asset.
So
For example, a motor car might be 500,000 or 500. A hire purchase, another type of loan is a hire purchase agreement. Businesses may use HP to buy tools, equipment, vehicle, and machinery. The feature of HP agreements are one: the business usually makes a down payment. The main fee is paid in monthly installments. The goods bought do not legally belong to the buyer until the very last installment has been paid. If the buyer fails behind with the equipment, the goods can be processed. HP agreements can be short-term or long-term. We call it hire purchase because here the asset is there for you to buy.
okay.
You might pay a small amount of money to purchase to have the possession of the asset, but you won't get the asset. The asset won't be yours until you make the final payment.
The final payment.
Do you understand?
So basically, it's like that. I get I
The
get
worth of the asset is 100,000. You might be told to pay 5,000. You pay the rest instrumentally. Maybe instrumental means maybe every week or every month.
Until the final
Until
payment.
this final payment. So you won't get the asset will not be yours until the final payment.
Sure. So basically, what it meant, the higher purchase is I buy an asset, I will get it like for a really cheaper price.
You won't buy it. How can it be cheaper when they are giving you something almost like for free? You'll be paying more than the amount. If the worth is 100, you might be paying 200,000 for it, because you are making a down payment and you'll be paying the rest on instrumental.
Okay.
Is it clear?
Sure.
But the problem about hire purchase is that it is so risky because the amount you're going to pay at the end of it all is higher than the value of the asset.
Then the bank loan.
Even than the bank alone, yeah. Is it clear?
Okay, that's surprising.
Do you get it or not, please?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. The next one is share capital. When we're talking about share capital here, we're talking about selling shares as a company.
Yeah.
So when you sell shares as a company, you sell shares to the people, right? It's a permanent capital. It stays, the money stays with the business.
Share capital stays within the business?
Yes, it stays. The money goes to the business, but the business will be losing ownership.
Ownership.
Yes. But the money stays with the business. It's a permanent source of finance.
So where did the it's not really.
So for share capital, for limited companies, share capital is an important source of external finance. The sale of shares can raise very large amounts of money. When limited companies are formed, shares are issued to raise startup capital. However, limited companies can raise more money by selling more shares in the future. So I explained already. So it means that you are raising you selling shares to raise more capital. So a right issue may be used to raise more share capital. So in the future, if the business wants to raise more capital, the business will issue what we call a right issue.
A right issue.
Yeah, that's it's additional shares to raise capital.
So basically, the shareholders will give us a permanent capital.
Yeah, but it means when you want to make When you issue, there's what we call issue capital.
Okay,
Issue share capital.
Okay.
These are the shares you sell at the beginning. When you want to start up your business, the capital you raise are called issued shares.
Ah, so issue shares is a startup capital.
Yes.
That's what it means.
Yeah, but when the business starts running and it needs to raise additional capital, then there's going to be what we call the right issue. So right issue may be used to raise more share capital. Is it clear now?
More share capital, okay.
So when the business wants to raise more share capital, it uses right issue.
Okay, sure.
Clear. So the main advantage of selling shares to raise capital is the interest payments are avoided. You won't pay interest. Those that invested in the business are not paying. You are not paying interest, so it's not like a loan. It's a permanent capital.
I'll not pay them back.
You're not paying them. The only thing you pay back is dividends, share of profit.
Dividends, okay.
Clear.
I mean, it's cheaper than bank loans, right?
Yes, yeah. So the problem here, the main disadvantage of issuing shares to raise capital is the cost of administration. The whole flotation process when shares are sold to raise money, when setting up, I will explain, when setting up a company. So the problem about selling of shares is that it involves administrative charges. You need to involve the bank. You need to involve a lot. You need to make. You need to make advertisements. You need to do a lot of things.
So it's complicated.
It's not complicated. It is expensive.
Oh, expensive. So I need to do a ton of things.
You need to pay more.
Yes, I need to pay more.
So that's the only problem about it. And also, you're going to lose. As soon as you sell shares, you might be losing ownership. Yes, you are getting money. You'll be losing position.
Yeah.
Is it clear? Is it clear, please?
Sure.
Then we have venture capital. For venture capitalists, these are specialists in the provision of funds for small and medium-sized business. They may invest in business after the initial startup and often prefer technology companies with a high growth potential. They prefer to take a stake in the company, which means they have some control and are entitled to a share in the profit. Venture capitalists raise their funds from institutional investors such as pension funds, insurance companies, and wealthy individuals. They are also likely to exit after about 5 years. So we have the venture capitalists. These are specialists. They are investors or companies. What they do is they provide capital, they provide fund for small size businesses.
I do not get it.
Venture capitalists are businesses.
Okay.
So what they do, they can be business, they can be individuals.
Okay.
What they do is to provide funds for small businesses.
That's venture capital.
Yeah, so they provide funds for small businesses or medium-sized businesses. So what they do is they invest, they provide the fund for you, and they could be part of your ownership, so that they can get profit, they can get share of profit.
Oh.
But they're not going to be permanent.
But then what's the drawback?
The drawback is that you have to pay them too. You have to pay. They take part of your profits. They take part of your profit.
So basically, venture capitals are their own businesses, who helps the business to fund, who helps the business by funding, by funding the capital. So
some of these and they make example of using business angels here.
Okay.
Why do we call them business angels? We call them business angels because they invest into a business. Yes, most investments are in startups or early stage expansion. The problem with this source of finance for business is finding a suitable angel. Since angels normally take a stake in the business, the angel and the current business owners must have shared interest and want the same for the future of the business. So finally, business owners have to be comfortable with sharing profit with the angel for as long as possible.
Businesses to fund the capital.
Yeah, venture capitalists. We call them venture capitalists because they are investors too. They could be individuals, it could be you, it could be me, it could be a company.
Really?
But what they do is they try to help to finance small-sized businesses or medium-sized businesses.
Yeah, sure.
So in the course of doing this for them, what they do is they act as an angel, like an angel, business angel.
Who's an angel?
They want to help out. They want to help the business out.
Okay, so the business angels are...
They are venture capitalists. So, but the business should be ready to share capital profit with them.
Yeah, sure.
That is the point. Is it clear?
Okay, clear.
So the next one.
I'm saying business capitals are also venture capitals. I mean, business angels
Yes,
are the same as venture capital.
definitely.
Okay.
Is it
I
clear
have
now?
to keep that in mind.
Yeah, please do. So the next one is crowdfunding. When we talk about crowdfunding,
Crowdfunding. Okay.
so crowdfunding is a relatively new source of finance for business. It is similar to peer-to-peer funding, where banks are excluded and individuals can lend money via the internet to others without previous knowledge of them. However, the fundraisers tend to be businesses or groups who are involved in a particular venture, such as putting on a concert, building a school, or setting up a community project. The lenders or investors will be a large number of individuals who together represent the crowd. Transactions are conducted online. So for crowdfunding simply means you find large numbers of people
Okay.
putting small amounts of money for a project,
So it's like a charity, right?
not charity.
No, it's very similar to charities.
Yeah, but here, some might request for certain stake in your business later on. Do you get it?
Yeah.
But most of the time, crowdfunding is about gathering large numbers of people to contribute small amount of money.
They'll pay you.
They contribute, not
Okay.
pay. They contribute small amount of money
Okay.
for a project. So if you have a project,
Sure.
some bloggers do it. So they help you to crowdfund. You have a project, but you don't have a source for finance.
Sure.
You cannot finance the project. If the project is convincing, bloggers might help you to post it and source for fund online. That is crowdfunding.
Okay.
Gathering large numbers of people to contribute small amount of money for a project.
Okay.
That is what crowdfunding is.
So crowdfunding is many people contribute really
Small amount of money
small amount of money for
into a project. For a project. Is it clear? That's another source of finance. Any question about that?
And the business have to at least have its limit of what they want.
No. There's no limit. You have a project.
Yeah, sure.
You have a budget for the project.
Yeah.
So they have to contribute the budget for the project.
Yeah, I'm saying that, they need to have which budget, how much budget they want.
You know your project.
Yeah,
You know the amount you need.
sure.
It is for them to ensure that you are able to make that amount. But if at the end of it the amount contributed is not enough, they might return the money back to the contributors.
Okay, I understand.
So go to the multiple choice questions now, please.
All right.
So we have multiple choice question for chapter 25, right?
Yes.
Is this chapter 25?
Yes.
Business finance. Question, please read.
All right. Which of these sources of finance is eternal?
Is internal, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Retained profit, mortgage. This is very obvious. It's retained profit.
Great. Number one is retained profit. Retained profit is an internal source of finance.
I know. Just you have the profit and you reinvest the profit.
Putting the profit back into the business.
Yes.
Great. Question 2.
Two. Which of these is a short-term source of finance? The short-term. You have mortgage, share capital, venture capital, and bank overdraft. Okay, it says short-term.
Yeah, short term.
Okay, I have to think really quickly. Share, I don't think so. See, you have venture capital. No. Yeah. Mortgage. Which is. Okay, it's bank overdraft.
Bank overdraft. Thank you.
Yeah, because if
You withdrawing more than the available credit balance, and that
Yeah.
would only happen for a
Yeah.
short period of time.
sure,
So question 3, please.
very obvious. I mean, if they don't pay you in small amount of time,
You have a problem with the bank already.
yeah.
Question 3, please.
Number 3, trade payables.
Another name for trade payables is creditors. Creditors.
I have to keep that in mind. Okay.
Please.
Trade payables or creditors is a suitable source of finance to fund the purchase of what? A new delivery vehicle and inventories.
You know what inventories are?
No.
Stocks.
Stocks. So stocks. Okay. C, property. Property. What is property?
Property. Property. Property.
Ah,
Things, your assets. Assets.
That's another name of assets.
Yeah.
Okay. D is direct labor. Okay. Okay. It says trade or creditors is a suitable source of finance to fund the purchase of what? Okay, it's property.
No, property. How can you? Who is a trade pay? We just talked about trade payables now.
Yeah.
Creditors.
Yeah,
People
yeah.
that sell to you on credit. Will somebody sell a property to you on credit? Will someone sell property to you on credit?
Yeah.
You can buy a land on credit. You can buy a car on credit. You can buy a house on credit. Can you?
Yeah. Wait, no.
Do you know what the credit means?
Yeah, I know.
To
credit.
pay to defer your payments.
Yeah, to defer my payment.
Instead, you're not paying now. You pay at a later date.
Mm.
Can you buy a car? Can you go to the automat and buy a car and pay to tell them I'm going to pay next year?
No.
They're not even going to allow you to pay tomorrow.
Mm.
So it's not property. A new delivery vehicle. These are long term. It's inventory, stocks.
Stocks.
These are short term. That means you are buying these stocks to pay at a later time to your supplier.
Yeah.
The answer is B.
B. Okay.
Question 4. A right issue involves the sale of what? A right issue
Yeah. Sure.
involves the sale of what?
Okay. A right issue involves the sale of what? Okay. A. New shares on the stock market. B. Fixed assets. C. New shares to existing shareholders. D. Part of the business.
Right issue.
Okay, it says new shares on the stock market. C.
New shares to existing shareholders. Great.
Yeah,
So
I
that
know.
ends chapter 25, right?
Mm.
It's also finance. The answer is C, anyway.
Yeah, because I saw A and C, they look very similar. I thought, wait, to exist